Track Wrestling with Jeremy Spates, head wrestling coach at Southern Illinois Edwardsville. And let's go way back to when you were competing. You were in the early recruiting classes when Brian Smith was trying to build Missouri. What did he pitch to you to get you to go there?
Well, I was actually Coach Smith's first recruiting class. He had been there for a year, but came in with that first class. And he kind of told me, hey, these are the things we're going to do. You know, we're going to bring in other great recruits. We're going to start beating the Big 12. We were laughing about it with some of the other old Big 12 guys that we were the bottom of the barrel, but we're going to beat these teams like Oklahoma and Oklahoma State and Nebraska when they were still in the Big 12, and a lot of things like that.
Did you believe him?
I did believe him. You know, I had known Coach Smith a little bit. I knew he was a workhorse, which is in this sport, accounts for a lot. But no, he was convincing in his argument. You know, as I asked him, who am I going to work out with? He said, hey, I still wrestle. Pritz wrestles. You know, we got Kenny Burleson coming in, J.P. Reese, all these guys. So definitely bought into the dream, and it was really cool to be a part of that.
And he knew your dad pretty well, didn't he?
Yeah, Coach. He was with my dad at Cornell for a year or two, I think.
Did it hurt your dad to not have you go to OU?
My dad actually is the one who kind of talked me into going, but the plan was I was going to go for 2 years and then come back. Michael Leitner was in my weight class at OU and was a national finalist as a sophomore, ended up being a three-time finalist national champ. So the plan was to go somewhere else, get in the lineup, wrestle for a few years, and then go back to Oklahoma. And Coach Smith was okay with that, but after 3 years, I ended up redshirting in between and moving up to 49. After being there for 3 years, I had teammates, Mark Paters here was my roommate. It was like, I can't leave these guys. We're building something. We had signed guys like Tyron Woodley and a lot of really good guys, so it was a lot of fun.
When you went to Cornell with Rob Koll there as the head coach and you're an assistant coach, what does he do that is unique to the sport? Because he's a unique guy,
yeah.
But what kind of things did he do to be able to elevate that program?
And he is, you've heard, I'm sure, other people say, but he's the ultimate CEO. And Coach Smith is good at that as well. But Coach Koll has set up so many different things between like the alumni relationships that he has, the relationships that he has on campus, the recruiting relationships, the camp relationships. So he's just done a great job with building it in all areas, not just in the wrestling area.
What have you taken from them that you apply?
Taking I always say this, I've been lucky to be under great coaches. Coach Smith, I kind of took his workout plan and his strategy for getting better. He was really great at that, always came in the room with a good plan. My dad, I learned a lot of the recruiting stuff from. My dad was a great recruiter. Under Coach Koll at Cornell, I learned more of that CEO and the fundraising aspect of it. So been with a lot of other great assistant coaches too. I mentioned Michael Leitner. I was with him and Rob Waller in Oklahoma. Barry Weldon was there for a little while. Up at Cornell, Matt Azevedo, Damian Hahn, Troy Nickerson, just a great bunch of other great assistant coaches too.
What's been the biggest challenge for you as a head coach?
I think learning, honestly. I knew going into it, as an athlete, I was part of a rebuilding process, but I got really lucky to go into Oklahoma when we were winning, national trophies, and then going up to Cornell where same thing, we had some studs and we were getting national trophies. So as a coach, I had never rebuilt a program. And SIUE was great way back in the day in the 70s and 80s. They had been down for a little while. So just learning how to build all those different things. Recruiting's still probably the biggest thing that I need to continue to get better at, but I've learned a ton.
When you guys started in wrestling, didn't your dad refuse to let you wrestle until like 5th grade?
Yeah, he didn't let me wrestle. I used to go to camps and things like that, and when I was real young, I'd be running around the wrestling room, which is fun now because I've got a 2.5-year-old daughter and she's in there running around with me. But no, he didn't let me compete or anything like that. And one of the funny stories I tell is he told me when I started getting serious about it, and I said, hey, I like it, I want to do it. He said, okay, if you work real hard, I'll get you a pair of wrestling shoes. So I worked real hard, I got a pair of wrestling shoes. Worked real hard, get a singlet. So in 4th grade, I think it was, I went to one tournament, and I showed up, and you see these kids decked out, full singlets, sweet headgear, knee pads. I'm like, man, that kid must have worked really hard. I didn't know that everybody wasn't on the same system that I was on.
Is that the right formula? Do you think that worked for you?
I think so, yeah. I've always liked to work hard. I think I got that from both my parents. But I think especially in a sport like wrestling, like I loved other sports. I played soccer, played baseball, swam, but I could, get better in wrestling, where in baseball I wasn't big, strong. I was never going to hit home runs all the time. But at the same time, I could figure out the technique in wrestling and beat those big, strong guys. So that's something I always loved about the sport.
How do you get that big recruit like Brian Smith got when he was pitching it? How do you get that guy in your room that really changes everything?
Yeah, well, our first one is in the quarterfinals here. Justin Ruffin was our first top 100 recruit. I think Justin ended up ranked like 49. And I just sold him on a lot of the same things. I said, hey, they've done it here in the past. I know how to do it because I've been around programs that have done it. We're putting the things in place as far as the RTC, the summer camps, the other training partners, the coaching staff. And so that's a lot of the things Coach was selling me on is what we're selling guys on. And we just, last year we had a top 20 recruiting class with Justin Ruffin and Aaron Shoeless and Saul Irvin and Ryan Yarnell, a bunch of really good kids. Colt McKiernan, who was a qualifier as a true freshman for us. So that really, I think, is going to take us over the hump. Those guys are working their butts off. They really want it. They understand what Division I wrestling is about. So I think that's going to kind of turn the corner for us, and we just got to continue to get some of these guys that can compete at the highest level.
There's just over 75 D1 programs, so making progress is tight.
Yeah.
What progress have you made in this program since you took over?
Well, we've done a few things, and honestly, I can say we're not where I want to be. I want to be at the point where our goal is to be a top 20 team every year. We think we can do that. But we've seen progress. We've had our first D1 All-American since 1987. We've had All-Americans at University Nationals. We're big on freestyle and Greco in our program, so we've had a couple of University Nationals. We actually just had our first World Team qualifier. Tommy Helton, one of our heavyweights, qualified last year for the Senior World Team trials. We had some guys in the junior division qualified for the trials in the 20 and under division. So we're making progress and getting better, but we got to just continue to do that.
How much do you talk to your dad still?
A ton. After every match or every tournament, I'm expecting that call. I know sometimes if we haven't had a great outing, he'll wait a little bit, give me a little time because he knows I don't want to talk about it yet. I need some time to fume. But no, he's been a great asset. He's come up a ton and talked with our team and been motivation for those guys. He's a great motivational speaker and really knows how to connect with guys. So he's done a good job with our guys as well.
Where do you stand on dual meets? Should we make it more important, get a national dual meet championship?
I liked the dual meet championship, honestly. When I was at Oklahoma and Cornell, we participated every year. I think it is good for the sport. I think they got to figure out the NCAAs and the dual component, because I don't think we can take away from the NCAA tournament how great it is. But I am a big fan of dual meets, and I think it will help for the sport.
Your brother Justin was in a movie called Reversal. When's the last time you watched that?
Man, it's been a little while since I watched Reversal. I did actually. I took Tommy up to the NYAC tournament a few weeks ago, and we stayed. My brother lives not far from there in the city, and we stayed at his house. And then Jimmy Petula, who's the guy who actually made the movie, it was about his life story. He wrestled in Pennsylvania, and so we actually met up with Jimmy, and his son is living in New York City. So it was fun to see all those guys. But I did make my wife watch it a few years ago.
Jeremy Spates, thanks for the time.
Thanks, man.